Hi, I'm Bill Bradley. Join me for a recent excerpt of American Voices. Here in American Voices, we celebrate all that this country has to offer. So after hearing about people who do wonderful things and people's life stories, we also want to celebrate the land. So each week we invite authors to talk about their favorite place or sound in the country. Recently we heard from Martyn Whittock. His book is Mayflower Lives, Pilgrims in the New World and the Early American Experience. Today he's back to tell us about his favorite sound. Here's Martyn Whittock.
Hi, my name is Martyn Whittock, and my favourite sound is the sound of the sea, particularly waves breaking upon a beach. I find that just so evocative of the whole experience of standing by the sea and being astonished by its power and its strength. It often does accompany wind driving in, so it moves your hair, it moves your clothing, it rustles things. So there is a sense in which this external energy does almost enter into yourself in your imagination. There's nothing quite like breathing in the wind, as it were. It almost like, its breath and your breath becoming one. I think perhaps the first time it really struck me how much I loved it was I went to the coast on a night of storms, and it was night, and there was nobody else there, and a bit dangerous, really. And I stepped out onto a breakwater, and there were guide rails on either side of me, so it was relatively safe. But I stood there, and the wind drove the waves in, and they crashed on three sides of me, effectively, and rose twice my height, like walls of water on either side of me, and then crashed down again. And I was a young man at the time, and I was just amazed by the awesome power of the sea. The difference in Britain is that when I'm standing on the beach, or when I'm standing on the shore, in quite a lot of places I'm looking across the channel towards France, or I'm looking across the North Sea towards, I can't see it, but I know Norway's out there and Holland's out there. So I actually feel that I'm actually quite close to another landmass, as it were. And I also know that when I look back inwardly, as it were, the country as a whole is quite small, and pretty soon I could actually get to another bit of sea here, there, or everywhere, because nowhere in Britain is that far from the sea, particularly when measured by American standards, which is so much larger. I find the enormity of it in the States to be so challenging. I look to one side and there is ocean, and it's a big ocean. I look to the other side and it's a continent, and it's a big continent. I can stand at one liminal point on the beach and look one side into vastness and the other side into vastness. And I find those contrasting vastnesses of sea and land quite intriguing. However, when I'm in America, I get a different sense of scale. I'm aware that as I look one side, I'm looking into ocean, and it goes a long way. When I look the other way, I'm looking into a huge continent. It's the vastness of the two contrasting that I find so particular about that American beach experience. And I think that's something quite intriguing for an English person or British person, because obviously living on an island, albeit quite a large island, you are aware that the coast runs all the way around. But what I find so evocative in America is that sense of I look one way and I'm looking out into the hugeness of, well, in this case it's the Atlantic, other side it could be the Pacific. But if I turn back, I'm looking into the staggeringly hugeness of continental America. And I find that contrast of the hugeness, the greatness of the sea to one side and the whole of continental America on the other, I find that quite extraordinary and really thought-provoking.
Thank you for listening to American Voices here on my YouTube channel. For more interviews celebrating the goodness and creativity of the American people, click the subscribe button below.